Da 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 Hello. So I was crafting episode 16 of D.L. Holmes Presents, and I realized that I haven't stopped to actually speak to any of you being the current viewers of my channel, or anybody that's randomly stopped along. So hi, and my apologies if you've happened to made it here via following tags. I'm not really sure how that works, or from a friend of a friend. Then you probably don't know who I am. So let's talk. I'm D.L. Holmes. I am a Northwest Louisiana author. I've published 7 works, 3 of which are a collection of erotic horror stories, which I co-wrote with local Louisiana poet Tiffany Pennywell. The Seemingly Strange and Unusual Tales trilogy. Each one was inspired by my love of horror anthologies. I grew up with Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, all of the freaky series that I used to watch, Goosebumps, Erie, Indiana. I just love short, digestible horror bites. Something about them just, I will obsessively watch. It can be a B or Z rated movie, and if it's a bunch of short horror stories, I'm gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna like it. I'm probably gonna be the only person that does, but love it. I'll probably spend the rest of my career churning those out in one way or another, so expect some more horror shorts from me in the near future. But I also published Stranded, which was my first solo publication. It's a poetry book. I worked with local photographer, lyric LaPlante. This was supposed to essentially be a day stranded amidst thoughts. She did the photography. So, a poem from this, briefly, one that I've read a few times. So here it is, I'll tell the truth. I think that I'm in love with you. And when it happened, I don't know, but seems you always tell me so. You tell me with your tap your shoes upon my grimy steel-toe boots. You tell me every time you care, and every time you catch me stare. And when my eyes are pinned on you, your kiss, it says you love me too. Not all the reasons, but just a few of how I know I'm in love with you. It's a bit of a different stray from what people know me for writing, but yes, I write poetry. There's a follow-up to this that I published earlier this year, which is Derailed. It's the follow-up, kind of sequel to Stranded. Again, I worked with lyric LaPlante. Flower Lungs on Instagram if you'd like to check out some more of her work. And this was again a combination of poetry and photography. She's very talented, so check her out. This poem's called Tone. Our love story was traced over thin paper, from the bold print of our past, from different fonts, from different genres, from different eras in time. Your sci-fi and my nursery rhyme were never going to blend, no matter how much love we shared or how much passion spent. But I really wish I could turn back time and ask you what you meant when you said I'll call you later, because I haven't heard from you since. The ideology behind Stranded was, again, this kind of stranded amidst your thoughts, so perfect. And then Derailed was, as you see, verb, past tense, means to be strayed from one's path. So they kind of correlate. In between those, I published another book of poetry, sight through smell, and other painful reminders. Look at that lewd cover. But let's see. Page 5, there's a poem called Tint. And it's, these tinted windows have hidden well first kisses, afternoons of passion, last fights and lost arguments, chicken gristle tears and fountains of love, from cold gazes and judging eyes, making it a place to call home. Funny thing about that one, I wrote that here in this car about my last vehicle and just how anything can hold memories. So yeah, again, collection of poetry and photography. I think poetry and photography go well together. There's a good blend because you're capturing a moment in time with a photograph. It's the realest and most dishonest thing, because once that photo is snapped, that moment's passed, so it's never gonna be how it's seen again. And I feel like poetry is the same way. You're writing about a feeling in time. You've either dealt with it or overcome it, or it's become moot, or you've moved past it, or you're in it. But once it's written down, unless you revisit it, that's it. So poetry and photography. And last piece I did, it's right here, Mixtapes and Mistakes, my first novel. Great artwork, right? Kendall Goff, fantastic artist, amazing. Dinosaur King on Instagram. Check him out. Fair rates, does commissions. Beautiful, beautiful artist. Super talented. Does great things with his hands. Like, I suggest just like looking him up. He's phenomenal. But Mixtapes and Mistakes tells the story of Space Boy. It's obviously a music themed book, and he's navigating his past via different relationships that he had. Each relationship was a song, each one tied by lyrics of each song. Each girl was a song, and he's going back just trying to figure out why he's where he's at with love, with himself in life. Possibly my love notes to one of my favorite movies, High Fidelity. Great John Cusack. Great book. Was it Nicholas Hornby? I don't think so. I don't think it was Nicholas Hornby. If it was, then yeah, awesome. But I'm probably wrong. That name's just stuck in my head. I'm gonna Google what he's written because I know I've read some of his work. This book's incredibly explicit. I call it a soft erotic novel because it's not like pornographic, but it is pretty intense in some of the scenes. So, can I read an excerpt out of this? Okay, let's try this. This is from the chapter Haruka Kanata, Asian Kung Fu Generation. Those of you who aren't weebs, that was the opening to season 2 of Naruto. Being an older fan of things like video games and anime is weird at times. There's this almost disconnect because new fans, sometimes younger fans, have a different take on what the source material or startups for things are. Space Boy grew up on Vampire Hunter D, Armitage III, Wicked City, and Twilight of the Dark Masters. Things like Fairy Tail, Soul Eater, and Gintama, though obviously granted a higher production value than what he had grown up with, still remained in his watch section on Netflix. Still, the small southern town that Space Boy had begun to call home was having one of its first anime conventions. He felt obliged to go. It had rained and rained the entire time. All the way from the back of the line, 20 feet he had moved after an hour of standing in the cold. It was after a few feet of shuffling that he saw her for the first time. Trainer Blue, with her younger sister and brother, shivering and wet from the cold rain. She was short, dirty blonde, obvious lines of stress, and something about her just seemed off. Like she was carrying a sad cloud over her head, like there was a string attached to it, and her finger. "Hey, I held your spot," he said. It's a page, that's an excerpt. All of my books are available on Amazon, including the collaboration I did with Miss Pennywell, who is actually the president of a local Louisiana Writers Club. So you can look up her work too on Amazon. She's a poet. She's published Follow My Downward Spiral, which is one of her recent works. Window to My Soul, Face and Embrace Yourself, different books of poetry. I believe she's working on a novel now, so you can find her Instagram, author Tiffany Pennywell, and keep up with her comings and goings. So yes, people I've collaborated with. I love collaborating with artists. If you want to collaborate with me, shoot me an email, d.l.holmes@outlook.com. Yes, I use Outlook. I used it for school. It's the best way to contact me because, you know, a little blip goes off my phone. I get a notification and I'll respond. But Melysette, fantastic human being, fantastic creature. A Frightful Fet with Melysette, where she's currently reading one of my favorite novels, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. She has a fantastic voice for reading, so check that out on all your streaming services. Go to Spotify, Frightful Fet with Melysette. She has a novel in the works. It's coming. She contributed to an episode of D.L. Holmes Presents. It was awesome. Kleio Catra, wild, fierce, opinionated. Check them out on Twitter. Contributed to the episode Winter. A novel in the works. Again, like I said, lyric. C. LaPlante, great photographer. Kendall Goff, phenomenal artist. Mack Swans. What do you say about Mack Swans? Visionary? Do you call someone as talented as Mack Swans a rapper? Visionary, visual aspect artisan. It's something I call myself too. Great human being. Just released his album Swanson. Definitely check him out on all your streaming services. I worked with him for the episode Unholy. So as you see, I love collaborating. Something I put out there to people I know, and I'm putting out into the world. If you have a story or something you'd like to contribute for an episode, email me and we'll have a short exchange. I'll put together a visual, we'll put together an episode. It'll be great. We'll have fun, maybe a few laughs, good times. Me, do I like talking about myself? I don't think so. I like sharing my work. So look me up. D.L. Holmes, Amazon. All my books are available. Like them, don't like them. Leave a positive review, leave a negative review. It'll help me grow. And this has been great. I think this is all I have to say for now. Check out all the artists I mentioned. They're great people. And next week, there'll be another episode. So this was my hello. Fair winds.